Greetings, vloggers, bloggers, followers, and potters. Dustin here from Dustin's Dynasty with the second half of this week's vlog. Today, I want to share with you a sort of a flashback moment, or maybe just a moment that I didn't realize happened 23 years ago. There's a lot of things I don't remember in my life, although I seem to have a uh, brain memory and a very good brain memory at that because of my autism, as many autistic people do. However, there's something I didn't realize in this one moment, and I don't think I realized it for 23 years, which kind of, makes me wonder things about life. There's many things I do remember, and there's many things I don't remember. And as such, I think I think a lot of things about it, but we move on in life and we do improve, and it shows that I continue to have the resilience. So without further ado, we're going to talk about the flashback. So the flashback today is about back in 1998. And not back in 1998, we're going to talk about how I got to 1998 yesterday. So my parents were cleaning their house this week, and I got a box of my school memorabilia, and in that box was my yearbook from 1998. And that was when I was in the sixth grade, and I was in a special classroom at the time. And it's a very subtle yearbook. Yearbooks were just coming out then. There's a lot of black and white photos. There was the creation of the photo scanner at the time. We live in a poor district. We did not have the schools directly did not have internet access in the classroom. That did not come for several years later. But as such, we had we got by. We got by. We had typewriters, data machines. A very different world today than what we have now. And I preface that with that because there's things we don't notice that if they happened 23 years into the current moment, action would be taken, and it'd be very adamantly taken to the point where it would have been brought to the attention of the media, because 6 years after this event, we had what was known as the Facebook, and then it became more widely known a couple years later, a decade later, from when this book was created. So it kind of brings to light, that the world has evolved technologically. Also, we realized that we wouldn't be able to have many of the capabilities that we have today compared to what we did 23 years ago. Granted, I have had internet in my parents' home when I lived with them 23 years ago, and it has evolved greatly since then. And thankfully, because of the pandemic that is going on in the world right now, we're able to stay distantly connected. Although I do hope in the future that it gets back to somewhat of a normalcy, and it seems to be doing that. Without further ado, we're going to talk about this flashback. So, again, this is my sixth grade yearbook, and I went to a school of 630 because my home school could not accommodate a special education classroom. It was non-handicap accessible upon many things. It no longer stands. It was an older building, and as such, they had a ceremony a couple years ago I got to go to, where they revealed the contents of a time capsule that was hidden during renovations. Anyway, this school I went to was a very large school. It was one of the largest in the district. In fact, it is now the oldest school in the district after many reconfigurations, renovations that later took place. As such, it had a lot of special education classes. And so, back then things didn't, it was a different world back then, and things didn't occur the way things should, according to education law. There was exclusion. I had my fair share of exclusion. And it does still go on. I don't want to deny that fact, but it's not as, subtle, and it's not as reacted to as it was back then. So lo and behold, at the end of the year, I knew we were getting a yearbook. I knew I was going to be in part of it. I put the order in, and I knew that I was going to a junior high school the following year. Unfortunately, I did not realize that redistricting would occur and I would be at a different junior high, but they found me. because it was their home, because it was the school of it was the a feeder school to this home. This was a feeder school to that junior high. That was in addition to my former other school, my home school. So lo and behold, 23 years ago, we get this book, and you go through the book here, and I'm not going to show much of it because of FERPA and education law, but you see that there's pictures of the sixth graders. You know, everybody has a portrait. Even the teacher has a portrait. It's a very nice book. And then you turn to the wonderful page, this page where things are omitted. And I'm trying not to get it into the light here, but I don't want to get too much into it, but you see that, I'm trying to get the light here, excuse me. You see that there's a list of names that are omitted. And as such, these photos were not available. And as such, these photos were that of all the special education rooms in that school that had sixth graders within them. Now, granted, the lower classes did have photos with them, but the higher classes, the ones that it was our last year, and I was there 4 years at this particular school, was not trying to get into it, but so you can see some of it, but trying to tilt a little bit, but was not included in a picture. So I paid for this book in 1998 with the intention that it'd be like any other student. The picture would be there, and that I would be equal as much as those. Well, lo and behold, that about 20 of these students did not have a photo in this spread. It's to say that went by, and I don't think it even got attention, as much. It didn't even get a newspaper article back in the 90s, but it did. It did, but we compared to what we have now in the real world, 23 years later, that would have drawn attention to some sort of media, whether it be a social media, whether it be a local media. If you've watched my last video, I do encourage you to watch that about an incident that drawn a lot of attention to the media, and it was just a bus incident. But you know that those things happened back then, but they were not as publicized as they are today. We have the internet. We have people with mobility to mobilely broadcast things. Mobilely share things instantly with the touch of a button to publish it on the online world with or without consent of others. So there's a lot of dicey things, and even though as technologically advanced as I am, I still have a sound conscience, and I don't believe in broadcasting things without people's permission or putting things out there without people's permission. I'm very choosy about what I share. It's a different world. It was a different world then, and I guess I'm in my 30s now, and I was brought up in that world, and I didn't want to call attention to things that I felt I did not go through the proper channel of doing so. And yeah, maybe this whole thing was brought to attention. Now, grant the other parts that I contributed to that yearbook are there. My signature on the signature scan, my baby photo was there. All these things, and even I was the most improved student for 4 years. So that tells you something. But and there's a couple photos, there's a candid in there, and out of a crop spread, and there's also I'm in my sixth grade picture with the group picture with everyone. But it just tell you that things are different now. When something is called out or something is not right, we see it a lot instantly than what we used to see it. It's definitely, it really opened my eyes to say that if this happened in 2022, it would not go down as lightly as it did back in 1998. I think in a way it was a good thing because it didn't expose the world to me as it does now, and it makes you realize how careful you have to be in this world. 2022 compared to 98 and that was when I first got my diagnosis, by the way. But it brings like it brings eyes to the world, that the world, is very publicized, and you have to be very cautious of your behavior, and you have to be very mindful of how you react in public, because what if you react in a way that draws attention to others, it can instantly be shared publicly. It can instantly be caught on camera and brought to the public eye without your knowledge. um, Having a meltdown in public is very dicey to do right now compared to when I was a child, because it could draw the attention not only of law enforcement and bring, undue wanted attention and cause further harm, but also bring, publicize it further. And I've seen this happen last week, particularly a lot in my hometown here in southwestern Pennsylvania. There was a fight in the local park, and the incident where the bus students were reacting out of control, and the truth did not come out of that video. I want if you go, I'll tag that video. Please watch it if you want to see how the difference from how things are hyped and what the reality of things are, because things are perceived in a wrong way, and you never get to see all the sides of a story. So that makes you think, about that, and I thought that was something good to bring up this week, because it's been on my mind, and I thought it would be nice to share. So with that being said, I want to thank you again for listening to this week. Um, be sure to like this video if you want to. Be sure to tap that notification bell for more videos. Be sure to subscribe to my channel. Be sure to like and follow on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Dustin's Dynasty. On the web at dustinsdynastyusa.com, on Pinterest and TikTok at Dustin's Dynasty ASD, and lastly, this vlog will be transformed into a podcast on my podcast Dustin's Dynasty ASD on many platforms, including Spotify. Again, I want to thank you for listening. Be sure to have a good week, everyone. Thank you again.